I got my swing forward, and I'll go long hollow, tap, and then I'll go one more time, and then I'll go tuck hollow and tap.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be having a discussion about swing theory. And so in order to do that, I've brought our special guest, by the way, Coach Renee here, and we have Daryl Stingley, aka Wavy, aka I Am Wavezilla, aka Coach Daryl, aka the man. And today we're going to get into basically what is happening behind the bar when we get into these big lache type of situations. So a lot of us are aware of what happens when we release the bar. We have a lot of focus at that point. We're using our parkour eyes, our parkour vision to land on something. But there's a lot going on behind the bar, specifically two shapes. So we have the arch shape and then we have the hollow. So first of all, maybe we can get into, for some of us that are unfamiliar with these two things, what is the arch position and what does it do for us?
The arch position on your swing is when your back is flexed backwards like this. That's typically the arch position. Typically when you are on the backswing, you have bend in the knee so you can have your heels close to your butt so you're ready to snap. And this is just loading us for the tap. That's all this is. So this is loading us for the kick that comes through before we throw off of the bar. That's the arch position specifically. Now the hollow position is the position that comes right before the arch. So if you are doing a swing forward and you come back, you're going to flex your tummy like this. You'll have this nice crescent moon shape. That's a hard arch, hard hollow, long hollow type of situation right there. I like to do tuck hollow, but I'll show both really quickly. So coming forward like this, I got my swing forward, and I'll go long hollow, tap, and then I'll go one more time, and then I'll go tuck hollow and tap, just like so.
Okay, so already we're getting into, we said we were going to talk about three, we're kind of looking at three shapes, or so we're going to do two, we're talking about three shapes now. So you said tuck hollow and a long hollow.
Yeah.
Why would you use one or the other?
I like the tuck hollow for just a normal upstart type of swing, just because it sets me up really nice and I have my heels close to my butt. I also get into a tighter ball, which helps me concentrate my weight on that backswing, and I actually can get a little higher with that than I would be able to get with just the long hollow, just the straight leg long hollow. So that's the particular reason why I use it. I also use that technique when I do pop casts, because typically in pop casts, you don't get super high above the bar, so you don't have a lot of time to hit a long hollow. So knowing how to do that tuck hollow from the heel drive of the pop cast is really helpful. So that's the particular reason why I use it. But there's no, I wouldn't say there's a rule to have to use it, but I like that a lot. And as does Nate Weston, Lincoln Powell, Ben Jenkin. We don't need to talk about him.
Keep dropping names. Huh?
Yeah, keep dropping names to affirm my theories.
So we were having this conversation before, and you like to reference a lot of the things going on in the backswing, things going on behind the bar as like the approach. So most of us that do parkour, we're familiar with running into something and know that, okay, if we have more steps, we're going to get more speed, it's going to give us more power for our takeoff, and we'll be able to do bigger jumps. But we can talk about now how that's kind of the same thing with the backswing. So how does that work, and how do you think about it when you're approaching different heights of swings?
Well, in terms of how this relates to approach, I like to say things like this. So like if your approach is really trash, a lot of stutter steps, not consistent speed moving forward, or no gradual build in speed moving forward, then you're probably going to have to do a lot of work from takeoff to landing. Whereas if you have a clean approach, a well thought out approach, and you can maintain that speed or gradually gain speed while staying fluid in your run, you should be able to utilize that speed to assist your takeoff, making the gap easier to clear. So you can have that exact same situation on a bar. On a backswing, if you have a bunch of bad shapes on the backswing that aren't really loading you up well to tap and throw, you're gonna have to do a lot more work on the tap and throw, which is going to be a little fatiguing, but also going to be somewhat of an impairment to you, because typically the less you have coming from the back, the more you have to throw going into to the front, and then the more you have to throw going into the front, the less you get to see, the less time you get to see, or the less power you get. So it has a detrimental effect on your swing either way. So I like to think of all of the positions on the backswing as points that I need to hit. If you ever played any video games where like you have to hit the button, there's like a circle closing, and as soon as the circle's around the X, you got to hit X. Does that make sense to you?
You know I don't play a lot of video games, but
But you get the premise, right? We get
you.
the premise, right? Right. So basically, there's a point in time in which you have to hit each position on the backswing if you want everything that you're doing on the backswing to translate to the forward swing, right? So if you hit your tuck hollow or your hollow at the right time on the backswing, and then you drop into the arch at the right time on the backswing, you should be perfectly ready for your tap at the exact right time on the forward swing, and then you can throw and release all of that power as accurately and hopefully with as little wasted energy as possible. That's the kind of idea that we're looking for with the backswing.
And I guess the last sort of thing we can kind of talk about here, and what we often kind of do on these breakdowns, is we talk about like the rules and then breaking the rules, right? So we're talking about like your ideal setup, you know, being like, okay, particularly if you're doing a bigger swing, maybe from a cast, hitting that hollow and then dropping your hips into an arch. But a lot of people you'll see still kind of manage to get swings without even hitting a hollow on the backswing. They'll just hit that arch. So maybe we can talk a little bit about, I guess, some of the negative effects of that, and you know, whether people should, what time they should feel like they need to start actually getting a good hollow. Maybe, I don't know if you can ballpark some ideas of like distances or sizes of swings where it's really going to make a difference, and you need to start getting both shapes down, and when it's okay just to be in that arch position on the backswing.
Well, as it stands, a lot of people do miss a lot of positions on their backswing. Most of the time people will kick up into a cast, or they'll just go into their backswing. They'll either be arched or they'll just be long, just straight long bodied, not even a serious hollow. And they'll be able to get off the bar, and that actually pertains to what they do with their hands typically. So most of the time when people have that issue, they do a really hard asymmetrical or staggered release, right? And that assists them in being able to see where they're going because they have a little bit of drag on the bar that pulls their hips back. So that does kill power, but it does allow you to see. So typically you're going to find that people are going to start to struggle with anything beyond like your typical 8-foot level laissez prise or 12-foot, 13-foot laissez prise in terms of distance. When you start getting into like that 14-foot plus range, it's going to start to make a pretty big difference on how you perform if you hit those positions at the right time, because what they do is they set you up to aim, and they set you up to tap and release with as little power leak as possible. So,
okay, so what you're saying is it's not those two back positions, being able to hit a good hollow and a good arch, not only set you up for more power, but also give you better ability to see?
Exactly. Because what you get to do, if you do hit a good hollow, you do hit a good arch, you should be able to get a good hollow out of your tap, which is what starts to aim you, that starts to load the core so that you can hip extend and throw. And the better hip extension and throw you have, the easier you're going to be able to see, the easier you're going to be able to sit up. Once you go from here to here, the better throw you have, the easier it is to sit up, to sit your chest up. So if you miss any of that, you're going to have a lesser tap and throw, which means more work somewhere. Typically, it's going to be in the release in order for you to be able to see. And the more asymmetrical we get, the more we're going to lose power because the longer we're going to be holding onto the bar.
Okay, so again, like kind of going back to that analogy of your backswing is like your run-up. Mm-hmm. If I have a bunch of stutter steps and all kinds of weird stuff going in my approach, I might not have the best spotting for my takeoff or my jump. Same kind of deal with that backswing. If I don't hit those shapes very well, I'm going to have a harder time setting myself up for success in the swing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what you'll see mostly from people who do miss those positions, typically you'll see somebody keeping a pretty hard arch, and hopefully, if they're trying to live, they're keeping their heels as close to their butt as they can as they drop, so that they can get a hard snap from the knee. Actually, that's what we want. We want, if we're missing something, we want to try to get as many more bends in as we can. So the only other place we can bend other than here to help us with our swing is going to be at the knee. So if people are dropping down from their hollow or from their cast or backswing with an arch, they should be aiming to do this, which most of the time if you see people doing that, that's exactly what they are doing. And then they can at least get the snap of the knee into the tap, which will help them load into this hollow on the front swing to help them unload from there.
All right. Well, that's all the information we got for today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get notified when you can see more videos like this, and we'll catch you next time.